Good evening. Welcome to another edition of Whether or Not. I'm your host, Dennis Kruhlov, with forecaster Kyle Eck. So Kyle, with us transitioning into spring now, well, astronomical spring, do we have some spring-like conditions coming our way?
We do, but unfortunately we have to wait a few days to see it, Dennis. We start off our weekend on a cool note, so it's going to feel a whole lot like winter, but then by Monday we see a return of the warmth, and then I think we see 50s throughout the middle of next week.
Oh, well, I'm kind of upset about the cooler conditions over the weekend. Looks like I'll be doing my long run indoors instead of outdoors. But otherwise, I've heard we have some interesting nature and news stories lined up for us this evening. Kyle, what are your two stories about?
Sure, so my first Nature in the News story is going to be covering Tropical Cyclone Freddie and the amount of records that storm has broken. If you haven't stayed tuned to that storm, it lasted well over a month and it just dissipated on March 15th. Now my next Nature in the News story is going to be covering early season sunburn and how odd it is to be seeing it this early in the year. What are your Nature in the News stories?
Those are interesting stories for sure. I'll be talking about another atmospheric river event that struck portions of the California, which I believe was the 7th one this winter season. And my second story will be talking about a nor'easter that struck portions of the Northeast, the first one this winter season. So anyways, with all that being said, let's jump into the first Nature in the News story.
Tropical Cyclone Freddie has proven to be a record-breaking storm after forming over a month ago. Freddie is one of only 4 tropical cyclones to ever track east to west across the southern Indian Ocean. Cyclone Freddie became the first ever tropical cyclone to undergo 7 separate rapid intensification cycles throughout its lifespan. Not to mention, Cyclone Freddie is now regarded as the longest-lived tropical cyclone, lasting 5 weeks and 4 days. This shatters the previous record set by Hurricane John in 1994, which crossed the international dateline, was designated as a typhoon, and lasted for 31 days. Cyclone Freddie is also thought to have broken the record as the world's most powerful cyclone in terms of accumulated cyclone energy, a measure taking into account maximum wind speed and duration of a cyclone. The previous record holder was Hurricane Yoki, which later became a typhoon in 2006 and generated over 85 units of accumulated cyclone energy, whereas Freddie generated just over 87 units throughout its lifetime. Cyclone Freddie made its second landfall in Mozambique on March 11th and as of March 15th has claimed the lives of over 270 people across Africa and Madagascar.
Between Monday, March 6th and Friday, March 10th, another atmospheric river event struck portions of the West Coast with the primary impacts in the state of California. An atmospheric river is a long highway-like channel that is located about 13,000 feet or roughly 2.5 miles up in the atmosphere, which helps to transport a high concentration of moisture from the tropics into the mid-latitudes and into such places like California. This atmospheric river event was so intense that around 50 million people were put under flood watches, which extended into portions of Nevada. Overall, a widespread 2 inches of rain was reported across California, with some local spots in Santa Cruz County reaching 6.5 inches. The widespread rainfall combined with rapid snowmelt in the mountains led to widespread flood problems across the state. A multitude of roads were shut down to either mudslides or overflowing rivers, and officials even began releasing water from the Oroville Dam for the first time in 4 years. This comes to no surprise as multiple atmospheric river events have impacted the state all winter long.
As spring nears and temperatures increase, it's very enticing to head outdoors and enjoy the nicer weather. In the coming weeks, longer days, sprouting flowers, and blooming trees will invite many warm weather lovers to enjoy the outdoors. However, there's a catch. Sunburn can easily become a problem for people who have spring fever and are eager to do outdoor activities such as exercise, gardening, and dog walking. What many people don't understand is that the sun angle this time of the year is the same sun angle that we tend to see in late September, given that we see the highest sun angle on summer solstice in late June. That means that the sun's intensity in late March is the same as it is in the end of summer. It's vital to wear sunscreen to prevent skin cancer, but especially so during this time of the year, even as we head out of winter. So, before you send your kids outdoors for Easter egg hunts next month, be sure to properly protect them with sunscreen.
Mother Nature brought a treat to portions of the Northeast on Pie Day, and no, it wasn't a slice of pie. On Tuesday, March 14th, the first nor'easter of the winter season battered portions of the Northeast, bringing with it high winds and heavy snowfall. A nor'easter is a strong cyclone that usually impacts the east coast of North America during the cool season months, and is called so because the winds over the land majorly blow from the northeast. More than 20 million people were put under winter weather alerts, which included winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings. How much snow fell was really dependent on the elevation, as a strong March sun angle helped to keep some snowfall amounts significantly lower outside of the highest peaks. However, on the highest peaks, nearly 3 feet of snow fell, with lower amounts between 6 inches and 2 feet across the lower elevations. Additionally, the nor'easter helped to cancel over 1,000 flights throughout the day on Tuesday across the Northeast, and nearly 300,000 residents lost power due to the heavy wet snow laying down on the power lines. This storm is a true sign that significantly winter weather conditions can linger into March, even after an abnormally warm winter.
We sure are ending our winter season on a wintry note, and it's all thanks to this storm system right here. For Friday, we start the day off on a warm note because we are south of a warm front, mild conditions along the I-95 corridor as rain starts to move in. Behind the system, we do have Arctic cold air trying to make its way through the upper Midwest, and that moves into our neck of the woods by Saturday. All of us get into that cold weather, and we see lake effect snow showers start to break out along the upper Midwest and Great Lakes, along as well Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. Cold, windy conditions ensue, meaning we're going to fall below average in terms of our temperatures. For Sunday, we start to dry out, but I can't rule out a few snowflakes, especially in northern PA. But other than that, high pressure tries to dominate along the Midwest, but cold, breezy conditions have a stronghold over us, so we stay well below average in terms of our temperatures. For Friday, enjoy the warm weather while it lasts, because we are not going to continue seeing it for a little bit. We'll go for a high near 53 degrees, a good soaking rain, so make sure you have the umbrella on hand. For Friday night, the cold front does sweep through the Commonwealth, and it'll get very windy and cold. Overnight, we're going to go for a low near 29 degrees here in Happy Valley. By Saturday, we start to dry out, but I can't rule out a few snowflakes in our area. We'll go for a high near 40 degrees, and those winds will be whipping, so it's going to be feeling like the low to mid 30s. For Saturday night, those temperatures drop like a rock as we start to clear out. We're going for a low near 22 degrees, and those winters, again, still going to be in place, so wear a jacket if you are out on the town. For Sunday, on our last day of winter, ironically, it's going to be feeling very winter-like. We'll go for a high near 34 degrees, all under mostly cloudy skies. Up next, Connor Friedhoff has this feature on Pennsylvania geography.
Pennsylvania is not just the Commonwealth many of us call home. It's a cacophony of unique lands, people, and environments. The Keystone State is subject to unique climate patterns as well. If you look at a Köppen climate classification map, you'll see that the boundary between humid subtropical and humid continental climates essentially cut the state in half. When contrasted with the topographical map, higher elevations found in the Laurel Highlands and the northern tier are subject to lower temperatures year-round. The topology serves as a template for the geography of the Commonwealth, one of the greatest influences on local and regional weather behavior.
In order to better understand the meteorology of Pennsylvania, sometimes we need to take a step back and look at the geography of Pennsylvania. There are 5 unique landforms that make up the state, starting with the Lake Erie coastal plain here in the far northwest. Of course, its proximity to Lake Erie means it's going to be very prone to lake effect snow, as are places like Crawford County and the towns of Warren and Bradford. They see some very high snow totals close to the lake. More inland, the Laurel Summit is the snow maximum of the state. It's located in the Allegheny Plateau. When you have moisture hitting those fairly steep mountains in Westmoreland, Somerset, and Cambria counties, you tend to have fairly high snow totals as well. This is the largest region of the state, pretty much covering the entire western portion, stretching across the northern tier and going all the way to the Pocono Mountains, where we have our rain maximum. Of course, maritime moisture moving onshore, hitting those mountains, delivering fairly high rain totals as well. We look a little bit eastward, we have the Ridge and Valley, State College serving as one of those gateways to the Ridge and Valley if you're moving eastward. This area is characterized by pretty much an up and down motion of the terrain, ridge followed by valley, hence the name. And we see different types of weather there as well. Of course, rain and snow depending on the elevation, fairly dynamic weather across all seasons. This includes areas, of course, like State College, Lewistown, and the Lehigh Valley. We go more to the southeastern portion of the state, we have the Piedmont, which includes some of the most populated areas of the state, Harrisburg, Lancaster, York, the outskirts of Philadelphia. This area is much more flat, seeing areas with elevations about 600 feet and lower, you're more prone to flooding as well as severe weather in the summer. So fairly populated area, but also very vulnerable in spots. And of course, looking at Philadelphia, they're located in the Atlantic coastal plain due to their proximity to the ocean, places like Delaware and New Jersey, where there's not much elevation at all throughout those states. Area is much more prone to flooding. They don't see much snow. It's much more different than, say, on the other corner of the state, where you have a snow maximum. Here in the southeast, you have pretty much a snow minimum.
Pennsylvania's position makes it vulnerable to multiple kinds of natural disasters. One of the more recent examples occurred in September of 2021, when remnants of Hurricane Ida unloaded a tumult of rain across the southern portion of the state. Flooding was widespread in Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and many places in between. Ida spawned 5 tornadoes in quick succession outside of Philadelphia, 2 of these appearing on the top 10 costliest tornadoes nationwide in 2021. The storm itself was the costliest to affect Pennsylvania since Sandy in 2012. Longtime residents already know that Pennsylvania's winter this year is not representative of what can be endured in a single winter season. 30 years removed from the 1993 storm of the century, the Keystone State has continued weathering many brutal blizzards and winter storms that measure at a Category 4 or higher on the Regional Snowfall Index, a system used by NOAA to determine a winter storm's societal impact. Sweeping temperature swings have also graced Pennsylvania in recent years. In 2014, a cold wave plummeted temperatures throughout North America, and locations in western Pennsylvania saw record lows broken as temperatures dived into the negative teens. Certain summers have seen the opposite in recent years. A heat wave in July 2020 set monthly records across central Pennsylvania and served to worsen drought conditions at the time, as certain locations regularly saw temperatures above 95 degrees Fahrenheit. The next time someone you know says that certain weather phenomena couldn't occur in Pennsylvania, think of previous years and the many times PA has bucked the trends and seen unique weather phenomena that we wouldn't typically see on a normal day. For Weather or Not, I'm Connor Friedhoff.
Consider yourself lucky as we start off our weekend ahead for St. Patrick's Day. On Friday, we see weather whiplash, but we do see dousing rainfall as well. But look at that, high near 53 degrees. That's a good 5 to 10 degrees above average for us this time of the year. Overnight, we'll dip down to a low near 29 degrees. This is because we'll be behind a cold front moving through our neck of the woods. Saturday and Sunday hold a different regime, much colder and windier. For Saturday, high near 40 degrees, and then by Sunday, it's going to be very ironic. For the last day of winter, it's going to feel a whole lot like the first day of winter. Our high is only going to struggle to reach 34 degrees. It's going to be a very different story as we start our astronomical spring on Monday. It's going to be chef's kiss. The forecast high, near average, but look at that, abundant sunshine. It doesn't get much better than that. Tuesday and Wednesday, we continue that warming trend into the 50s as we stay dry, but our next storm system does come into view by Thursday as we see highs still hovering near 50 degrees. Friday continues the lingering rain showers, Dennis, as we do see a seasonable start to spring.
Well, Kyle, thanks for your forecast. I'm definitely excited for spring-like conditions next week. Anyway, now for your Weather Whiz quiz question. With permanent daily savings time, the latest winter sunrise in State College would be at A, 8:15 a.m., B, 8:35 a.m., C, 8:50 a.m., or D, 9:15 a.m. If you guessed B, 8:35 a.m., you are in fact correct.
Wow, Dennis, it's very intriguing to me to think that in late winter, if we were to see permanent daylight saving time, we would see a sunrise as late as 8:35 in the morning.
I think it would be nice to see an extra hour in the evening, though, in turn for the darker mornings.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for joining with us on this edition of Weather or Not, and stay tuned next week for another show.